Hey guys, welcome to Generation Iron Podcast. Your host, me, Victor Martinez. Today we have Edwin Mejia and Vlad Yudin. Obviously, Esan's not here because he had better things to do, obviously now. Again, we'll catch him on the next run. Okay, guys, today we have some, topics, and Edwin want to enlighten us with what they are.
Well, today we want to announce that obviously Redcon 1 has been a big supporter of the podcast, but we're going to be giving away a full case of Redcon 1 to those who submit the best questions for Vic. So Vic, you get to pick the best question, and whoever wins will get a full case of Redcon 1 energy drink.
Well, I got to go to YouTube, type in a question for the next one, and you'll pick the best one.
Yes, guys, please, serious questions, informative questions. I mean, something that's really going to dig deep into what you've been wondering about, what you want to know, and what most of us out there want to know. Again, hit us with the good questions, all right?
Yeah.
No corny stuff, all right?
Don't ask him how much he benches.
Yeah, please. Not how much we bench or squat or even, masturbate times per week, all right? Real questions, all right?
By the way, you know this is a big trend going on? I think Bradley Martin made it public. He was like, he stopped masturbating for like a year. It's like a trend happening. No, I'm not joking around. He made that statement officially. He said it keeps him clear. Have you heard about that?
Some people have to actually do it every day only because it's a distraction with women now, so how little they wear. So guys get triggered. They get triggered so fast in the gym, and they just have this urge. So by doing it in the morning, it kind of keeps them focused. So again, we all build differently. We all have, some desires that we just can't control.
I guess what he's saying is he's basically anti-porn. Like he doesn't watch porn.
Yeah.
That's what I guess he was talking about.
Yeah, he does say that. I think that that's the right approach. That's the healthy approach. I mean, the problem is that when you're on Instagram and you go to that discovery page.
It's like porn.
So what
He falls for the clickbait.
Right.
That's what it is.
So what I do, I don't know if I told you this, Vlad, but what I do, I go on there and you go to the discovery page and you put in do not recommend, not interested. You could highlight the pictures that you're not interested, and it actually tells the system to not recommend these half-naked photos for you. So you focus on, for us, we focus on seeing everything, but we want to just stay focused on the agenda, right?
Yeah,
and that's what you do.
Well, if you're going to look for it, you get into the porn, and then you get caught up, and then what happens, you get turned on, and then you have to sidestep, go to the bathroom, But, and also you start surfing, you want to post something positive, whatever it is, your daily motivation, and then you get sidetracked by a big old butt, and you stare at it like it's some Jack in the Box, like something's gonna come out of
Pun
it.
intended.
Like, guys, there's really nothing coming out of it. It's just another meaty ass.
Do you think porn is damaging to watch porn is damaging to
It's always damaging to a lot of people because it takes away time, precious time from your schedule. And most people don't notice until you're already trapped in it. So, let's go. I think we should have that question to a lot of people in Utah, the biggest consumer of pornography.
Really? Utah is the biggest consumer of porn?
Utah's always been number one. They always hold that title,
Wow,
Why is that? People in
Mormon
Utah.
State, Utah. Go ahead, guys. Keep holding on to that title, man.
Damn.
While the world keeps progressing.
Wow, I didn't know that fact. That's a crazy stat. Crazy stat. But no, I think that you get that quick fix in, and that's why people do it. But obviously, it becomes a really bad habit. And the goal is to stay
People
focused.
get addicted, yeah? They get addicted.
Well, you got to stay busy. And I guess there's not much to do in Utah when the snow melts, It's just...
There's gonna be a lot of angry people from Utah probably addressing you.
Listen, I'm just going by statistics, In New York, we're too busy. We got 2-3 jobs, We're here going around, There's a lot of activities. There's a lot to do in Utah also, Salt Lake City,
Beautiful place.
Yes. I want to go, but always go with a companion, You want to get set up like Sean Roden did.
Oh, man, that was rough.
We're steering into a hole.
Listen, I got to throw it out there. He got set up, man. He got set
man.
up. I'm not going to be quiet about it.
Yeah,
He did. He got set up, so like the whole accusation thing you're talking about.
Yes, he got set up. So always roll up in twos in Utah. Never stay alone with somebody you don't know.
That is crazy.
You always have a witness.
You got to be careful what state you're in, obviously.
In any state, Shit. Even happened to Mike Tyson. Could happen to any of us. Anyways, the topics.
All right, yeah. Let's.
So stay tuned for
Off left field here on a Friday, you know.
Yeah.
And we're not even drinking.
yeah.
yeah.
Stay tuned for the Generation Iron of who set up Sean Roden.
Yes.
We should definitely talk, because, whatever. But let's talk about this health scare situation. I remember talking to you. We did an interview, I think, a year ago, 2 years ago, and we're talking about health scare and bodybuilding. And you told me about the story where you were competing. I think it was 05, and you woke up one morning and you felt like you were going to die before the competition.
Man, it's one of those instances where a lot of us, and it's happened, to many of us bodybuilders. I mean, you've seen it happen to Momo Benaziza, except he is not around to actually tell us, what happened, because his health scare became actual death. Mm-hmm. But we can get so close to it, and we're so mentally tough that we won't submit to it. We won't admit to it sometimes until it gets too late. So a lot of the times, you should always be with someone when it comes to showtime. Have somebody bunk with you. Mm-hmm. Have somebody stay with you. And then in this one instant, I was basically, drying out for a show. 05 Arnold. I was trying to dial in. Mm-hmm. And it got to a point that I just kept pushing and pushing. When I mean pushing is dropping that water to the brink of, too much.
You were
too
dehydrated.
Much. And again, I was still, even though, yes, I am competing with the pros, the pros, we still tend to do amateur amateur But I mean by it, it's like we shouldn't really push that hard to drop water. It should be kind of like, clockwork, easy, step 101. When you take too much water out of your body goes into this survival mode, or it just, it could lower your blood pressure. And for me, I didn't know, because I was just dropping water, going to the bathroom. Can I hit it one more time? Boom, let me drop another one again. Mm-hmm. And yes, you are looking sharper, but...
You're dropping, what do you mean? You're talking
dropping the water, well, we drop the bomb. Drop the bomb is basically what we call the diuretics.
Diuretics, yes.
Start dropping them. At that time, I believe it was like Skittles,
Like Skittles, shit.
Yeah, I mean, and you shouldn't, but we're so hardcore, and we want to get that detail. We push in, but one thing you have to notice when you are dieting for sure and you are dropping water, I had the honor to hang out with Samir Banu this weekend, and he said it best. We try to see too much detail from about 2 to 3 feet away. And in reality, that's not the right way to look at yourself to be ready. You can actually stand about, 12 feet away, and if you're conditioned then, you're going to be conditioned on stage. So the water, the war of the water, that's what it is.
It's interesting because today there was a headline out by Lee Haney, obviously a very respected bodybuilder, right? One of the best. He said, today bodybuilders are 60 pounds overweight and traumatizing themselves. So it's almost like they are unconditioned, that's what he's saying, right? Or is he saying they have too much? I don't know what he's saying. I have to read the...
But doesn't that go against the whole purpose of like Ben's Open, no? Like right
yes, but basically when I read what he, I actually saw the same post, and I had to, give it a like, because one of those things is these guys are just trying to get too big, too fast for no goddamn reason at all. Like just... build quality.
Well, they want to collect that check at the Olympia stage.
Yeah, I mean, but being big, again, does not mean you're going to be better, because they're getting big, but they're getting sloppier, meaning they're not looking appealing.
Right.
Which is why you have classic physique surpassing the fan base.
But in your case, so you were trying to lose the water weight, losing water weight.
Yeah, for me, I had gotten too big in 2005. I had a huge rebound. That rebound came from the 04 MPC show of strength, and we would eat like food is going out of style, and when we would eat, and once you see us full, we think, man, we look so big, we look so full.
Right.
Let's just continue the eating.
Right. When you say, the classic Olympia, a classic physique is overtaking the men's open, I I mean, are you referring to Chris Bumstead, or are you just referring to like the league? Yeah, the competitors overall.
Just what people are talking about the most.
Okay. Because I feel like, if someone else, I mean, the guy from Brazil, Dino would have win, I don't think it would have given. I don't think the popularity would be as big for the classic physique as it is now.
Yeah.
They're getting popular because it's so close where even some of the physique guys are close to classic physique. So you're going to see a lot of shifts of physique guys going into the classic physique because it's just so close and tangible. Where bodybuilding, Ronnie just took it above and beyond, but not everybody wants to get to that level because it takes so much, and I don't think anybody, even if they wanted to, can get into that level. They don't have the mental capacity and strength.
Oh, yeah. But in your case, so you felt like you were going to actually die. So what made you push to go into the show?
Well, it was I was shallow breathing. We're not going to quit. We're not going to quit,
Well, I mean, yeah.
And I just felt so bad that I didn't even want to pose. When you don't want to pose and you're a bodybuilder, it's because each pose took so much effort. Damn. You're drained. You're wiped out.
What year was that? What did you feel that again?
It was 2005.
Right.
It was 2005 again, and it was a weird year because also I remember I competed with a partially torn pec.
Damn.
So I had partially torn pec.
You're in pain probably, right?
I was a big water bubble, but I was big as hell. But the show must go on.
Yeah.
It's one of those things I always say is the show must go on, and that's why I think a lot of bodybuilders, male, female, wind up dying because they have this mental strength that I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to not show up. I'm not going to let people down. People are watching. Is it a sponsor? Is it family members? Is it friends? Is it just because you're already there? So you have to make the right call. So I always say now, especially more now, have that one person next to you. You got to remember when George the Bull passed away.
Yep.
Just recently.
He was alone in his room.
And George we had George here right before that.
Yeah, you had George
here. George Harrington, yeah.
Yeah, you had him. I remember catching the interview. George was just one of a kind. This guy was the most humble champion. So when Justin, his trainer, he said, he gave him his time alone. Some bodybuilders do ask for that, but I'm sorry, guys. Even when you do want that time alone, be alone in the next room next door. But no one should ever leave a bodybuilder in prep 2-3 days out from a show, ever, because it can go south.
So that's a good question too for me, from our side. I mean, in terms of competition prep, right? It's having a good coach. You need a coach.
Yes.
Right. You need a good coach. You need to stay hydrated.
Yes.
You need to have the right proper nutrition, and all those things are centered around the right coach.
Yes, around the right coach. The coach is always around you. He knows how you react. He knows when you're looking, at your weakest, and he's pretty much knows.
But what do you recommend for the young guys, right? Like for those young guys that are just starting out that might not have an opportunity to work with like a coach or
simplicity.
Or a coach.
Simplicity. Just keep it simple. I mean, I didn't introduce the rhetoric until my 4th or 5th show. It's one of those things that you don't want to start playing just because, yes, we are talking about it. They hear us talking about it. They read articles, and you have guys in the pro ranks, talking candidly about it. But when they're up and coming, just keep it simple. Play with your water just by simply drinking a lot of water and just, diminishing the amount of water you intake to the day of the show. But don't go, you can do 0 for the last 12 hours. It's not going to kill you.
But a lot of these coaches, it's impossible for them to be with an athlete the whole time because one top coach can be coaching like 5 different guys in Olympia or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the coach itself cannot be there, but they should still have some sort of a bunkie with them.
Like anybody can just be there in case.
Anybody, a family member, a friend, somebody who's going to help you, get your food, heat up your food.
Right.
You should have a team. Because
you need the right support system,
Yeah, a good support system just there with you. You don't want to,
You ever thought about coaching, Vic?
I mean, I do coach. And I do help athletes. We have.
How many athletes do you coach right now?
I mean, right now competing, only just about 3.
Okay.
And one guy also assists other coach in coaching their athletes. And so far, we do it as healthy as possible because we go old school. We go old school, meaning we don't start slamming diuretics a week out. That's just
right.
amateur.
Well, I can see you being an amazing coach because you were someone that were able to learn from mistakes, but also you've been through it, right? You have a tremendous amount of knowledge, but also there's so many coaches that don't have that experience. But also now you look at some of these guys, they look like there's something is wrong with them. I mean, you don't have to be an expert. You could tell. You look at them, there's something wrong with them. And you look at guys like Flex Lewis. I mean, he got out. I guess he's semi-retired. I think he's retired or whatever. But he looks great. He looks like he made the right decisions in his life. Yes. And you need people and coaches like that, right? Yes.
You have to have somebody that's been through the grind, been through the trenches, and they could tell you, no, we're not going to do that. If you say don't do that, the athlete has every right to ask the coach why.
Right.
Because that's one thing I think athletes are not using the why so much.
So speaking of coaches, 2001, Ronnie Coleman had a health scare. He talked about it openly in the film, where he woke up after prejudging the next day, and he said he felt like he's going to die, like he thought he was dying.
Yeah.
So he called his coach, Chad Nicholas, who gets a lot of flack, of course, for a lot of things. But and he said, I'm going to the hospital. And Chad told him, no, don't do it. He told him to drink like a lot of gallons of water, basically, 2 gallons of water or whatever. He followed the directions of a coach, ended up going and winning that night, obviously, which brought amazing physique that year, right? So let's analyze this situation here, right? The guy's saying, I have to go to the hospital, I'm going to die. Coach gives him a suggestion, he follows, and actually ends up winning. So the coach was right in the situation, right?
Yes.
So what do you think about this story?
I mean, again, your coach is one of those guys that's going to make the call. Feeling like you're going to die, I felt like I was going to die many times. Right. But that's not always the case.
Your mind plays tricks with you, right?
Yeah, it does. So the feeling and what's actually happening is 2 different things. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had a friend that said, I will never, ever compete again. And I said, why? She goes, oh my God, I never felt like I was going to die. And again, the only reason why she felt that was because she went to zero carbs for like 7 days.
Wow.
That will always make you feel like you're going to die.
So let me question, what's the feeling of how you feel if you're about to die?
Yeah, how did you...
what's that? It's not a feeling of like you're driving this car and you're about to get into a car accident and you see your life flashing, right? Mm-hmm. So is it like, what kind of like life flashing moment is that exactly?
Well, you're up, you can see, but a lot of times you can't tell your arms or your legs.
You feel numb.
Let me get up.
Wow.
Like your body doesn't listen to you.
It's like the bathroom, it gives you one of those scenes of The Shining when the hallway is this short, but then all of a sudden it becomes like this big, long corridor. Like you can't walk it, and it's, everything becomes such an effort. And again, it's a feeling.
Yeah.
A feeling, but I will have to say, the worst thing or the biggest indication of dying actually is fainting, collapsing.
Have you ever fainted in prep?
And out. I think once after the Arnold, I had just finished getting off stage. I didn't drink enough water. I didn't eat anything. And I wanted to just relax. But...
That's crazy. So, Vic,
that's scary to me. Fainting is scary.
Fainting
it was because I smoked the fattest blunt ever. So I kind of.
So you just fell asleep. You didn't faint. You just fell asleep.
No, but I knew what was going to happen.
Sure.
I felt myself going under, so I go into quick thinking.
You smoked before competing, before going on the show?
No. This was after.
Oh.
The show was done. Got off the stage already. I think that year I got 3rd place. And,
well, why not before the show? You can smoke and be more relaxed.
Yeah, no, it was just after again, and I just wanted, just to calm myself down. And And right before I collapsed, I remember I put the shower into very cold, and I threw myself in there.
Damn.
You know, as cold as possible.
And it helped.
And just helped. I just came to it. But most people would just kind of, what would they do is, oh no, let me lay down.
Let me lay down. Yeah.
You know, let me lay down. Let me let it pass. It's like when you're feeling like you're going under, stay up. It's almost like a concussion. You know, you hit yourself. Oh my God, concussion, and you want to lie down. That's the worst thing you can do.
So it seems like dehydration, right? So Ronnie Coleman, the coach made a decision because Ronnie was dehydrated to the max, right? And I guess the water like bounced him back to life.
Yes.
In your case, it was also dehydration. So dehydration is ultimately like the thing that kind of puts you in that mode where you feel like you're going to die.
Yes. Taking too much out, people always want to say, oh, I want to take out just this much little water subcutaneously. And when you take a diuretic, the diuretic doesn't know where it's pulling it out from.
Right.
It's going to come out from your muscle. It's going to come out organ, some other organ, and it just goes the wrong way. You can't. It can go haywire. You know, haywire to the point that it gets to a point of no return. You know, and that's, again, just have somebody with you. You know, communicate. You know, then again, a lot of times you get zoned out when you're going through it, that you almost get a euphoric feeling that you don't believe it's happening.
Right.
But at some point you got to make a decision. Okay, is it just the mental thing and I got to go through with it, or do I have to really go to the emergency room? You know what I mean? Like,
again, fainting.
Somebody got to make that call. You know?
But fainting can happen to anybody. If
fainting
if they're dehydrated,
is
right?
definitely the number one thing of, listen, pull out. And again, some people, I've seen them, they fainted and they've gone on to finish the show.
Damn.
But that's the grind that we go through as bodybuilders, that we push through it. The mental strength is something else. We can really push our body to the next level of getting beaten up. So we can literally kill ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean,
so going back, if you were to go back in time and give yourself an advice in 2005, would you say go ahead, proceed, or back out and not do the show?
I mean, I will even go back to saying, don't eat so much, you fat bastard. You know, what's the point of eating a pound per meal? You know, as Lee Haney said, you know, it's like, why get so big when we could just stay streamlined, you know? You got to remember, guys in the 80s, you'll call them any time. They were actually in shape most of the time. Now you go into the late 90s, you know, I remember I seen Flex Wheeler, Dorian Yates, Jay Cutler. They would just freaking blow the hell up.
Because they were chasing Ronnie, right? I mean, wasn't
that should be another show, Chasing Ronnie.
Chasing Ronnie should be, because he changed.
Everybody wanted to just get so damn big.
Right, but before him was Dorian Yates. They were chasing Dorian Yates.
Yeah.
So they always chasing somebody inside.
Dorian Yates was in his dungeon. People didn't even know what Dorian Yates was doing until...
Right.
We heard from actually one of the judges, one of the promoters. And he told us, or he told Vlad initially too, he's like, hey, you know, we want you to win, Jay, but, you know, he just comes in better than you every year. That's literally what he said.
But he remained
I mean, that was said in private, but, you know.
Jay just remained steadfast. He just kept doing it. At the same time, he kept doing what other bodybuilders were not doing. Jay was building the Jay Cutler name in the back channels, you know. So his money was okay. He was making some money while competing, also was getting the good contracts, but also setting up his merch business, you know. Well, a lot of the other guys were lacking, were not doing it. So, and in the end, look, he wound up getting 3 Olympias.
But he had to check. I know, right?
So wait, so is Phil? So is Jay Cutler the last white guy to win Mr. Olympia?
For now, I really, you know, last white guy to win Olympia.
I think so.
I would think so, but then,
yeah, he is actually.
But then the way the setup is coming, I think they're laying out the red carpet for Derek Lunsford, so that won't be for too long.
Well, I'm saying like it was Phil Heath for a while, and then obviously before that
it was Phil Heath, and then it was Brandon, and then it was Big Ramy, yeah.
Phil Heath
and Sean Roden, yeah.
Will he be considered half white? I don't know. What is this?
Come on, man.
No, it was Jay Cutler, then it was Phil Heath, then it was Dexter, back to Jay.
Yes, back to Jay.
Back to Jay, and that's it.
But my point
Phil
is
Heath took it all the way through.
But
That's
Jay
it.
had to chase. You talking about eating pounds of food, right? Like he had to do it. There's no way that he was gonna win or beat Ronnie
To
without
be that massive
He had
and
to.
have that quality muscle, yes, we ate to a point, but also not to the point where Lee Haney is saying now that these guys right now, they're just not impressive. He sees them as not so impressive.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Jay was big, Ronnie was big. I mean, a lot of us were coming in big, but also impressive, meaning condition, you know, and in shape.
You know, we're talking about health scares, right, in bodybuilding. I talked to quite a few bodybuilders, and a lot of health scares come when they take insulin, and then they have to eat a lot of food afterwards, or some kind of carbs, right? And then for that moment, they feel like they might die, or they actually could go in a coma.
Yes, yes,
That's
one of the
happened to a
biggest
few
thing.
bodybuilders we know, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, people kind of saying that, you know, Dallas McCarver
Right.
didn't choke, that he just took too much insulin. You know?
Right.
For me, I had something similar to it happen, but it was IGF-1. I misused it.
IGF-1 is what exactly?
Yeah, insulin growth factor, which is what GH becomes at its peak. You know, and you use it, and it's good for building muscle, good quality muscle, fast. And I used it not really thinking. I was thinking about the GH effect, but not the insulin effect.
And you felt like you were...
Well, I used it as one of those nights where I really killed myself at the gym. You know, the show's about a week away, and this is the last dose. It's like, yes, I admit I used it, guys. And I took it, didn't take enough carbs, went to sleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Went to sleep.
Yeah, I went to sleep, and I remember literally chewing my tongue. It was
Wow.
Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah, almost like really bad chewing on my tongue. And sleeping in another room because I would snore so much, so my wife couldn't really hear me. I'm like trying to, I couldn't, you know, like tongue was like numb, and it was just pretty bad. So obviously the only thing I could do was get myself to the kitchen, which it was the worst feeling. I mean, that was probably the second worst time. Because I was just kind of walking to the kitchen, and I could hear it was like in a movie. It was like on a boat. Wow. And I drank the entire half-gallon orange juice.
Because sugar, you need sugar, right? You need something sweet.
You need sugar. You need sugar. You need to have carbs. So if anybody is, they're going to still dabble with it. They're still going to play with the insulin, you know. But just make sure you have the amount of carbs either in your car, in your bag, you know, juice. Just have it with you. Have it with you. Better to have it, not need it.
That's good advice. That's actually
than
good
need it
advice.
and
But
not have it.
that happens to so many bodybuilders that I talk to privately, and they tell me the same. Like they take the shot and then boom, like I guess they don't eat enough or something, and then they just get this crazy.
Usually don't calculate enough. Or the digestive system, they take the insulin, they eat the carbs, but they're not digesting the carbs fast enough, or is enough to the equivalent of the amount of insulin they took.
Which is why you need a good coach.
So yeah, but
Yeah, exactly.
always have enough, because even with the coach, you can say so and they can eat a meal, but it's sometimes not going to be enough.
right.
So they're metabolizing it so slow.
I heard a rumor. I don't know if it's true that insulin is slowly leaving the sport of bodybuilding. Like people stop using it.
Yeah,
Is that true or no?
I mean, it's not creating. It's people using it to carb up, but to actually build the amount of muscle that using it right, it can't do. I know Milos is a big advocate for it. I mean, he can swear he's probably the best one that knows how to use it. I mean, he speaks so.
He started using it, I think, in bodybuilding. Right?
Yeah, but I mean, there's been some great bodybuilders coming out that have never used it.
Phil Heath made actually a statement. He said he never in his career used insulin. I'm pretty sure he said that.
The only time I used it was probably in 2005, you know, So
Wow, ironically, the year that you felt like you were.
yeah, but I felt like I didn't need it after that. It's kind of like one of those things. Okay, you take the insulin, you eat a lot. Come on, I mean,
But it converts, basically, to make it and put it in simple terms, it converts like bad food into muscle, right? Is that how it works?
Yeah, it's supposed to get your glycogen storage much faster and therefore have your recovery much faster, muscles much fuller.
So you can eat cheat meals essentially as much as you want when you're on insulin. Is that also true?
I mean, but if you have good genetics, you don't really need it. You don't really
If you have
need
bad
it.
genetics.
Yeah, you have good genetics.
No, that's true. I mean, you look at guys like Vic, Phil Heath. I mean, you guys have the genetics.
Top genetics, yeah.
Even like you don't have to be a professional expert or you could just be someone observing bodybuilding like I have for years, and I could tell. You could just easily tell. Some people just don't have those genetics.
So maybe Milos didn't have the best genetics. That's why he.
I mean, everybody always starts playing with something. I think the only other bodybuilder I knew that had to use insulin because he was actually diabetic
That's different.
Tim Belknap. And he was, most people even know who he is,
But that's a different story. He had to do it because he was diabetic.
Yeah, but he was huge. He looked great.
He used it to his advantage, you're saying?
But come on, you people are gonna want to be diabetic just to be huge, or
it's crazy.
So it was.
Is insulin a banned substance? Like you need to.
It's over the counter. I mean, you can get it over the counter because if somebody, needs insulin.
A lot of people in this country
going
need
to
insulin, though.
shot.
But it's prescription based. It's
Right.
prescription based though. You need to
Yeah, but you go uptown to Rosa Pharmacy, they'll give it to you guys.
Shout out to Uptown. Shout
You gotta
out.
love mom and pop pharmacies,
Yeah.
I think Walgreens is gonna be getting shut down with all these lawsuits, but mom and pop pharmacies all day.
You go to Walgreens now. You actually see everything shut down. You have to wait 10 minutes to get a security guard to open a little section for toothpaste or
Although in Manhattan,
soap,
that's
it's
how
crazy.
it is right now. It's crazy,
I
right?
mean, just for that, or before they used to just go in and steal all the methamphetamine, ingredients. I think that's Walgreens. CVS, they just literally just go in, go shopping, and you have to let them walk out. My sister works there, and they say, no, we can't even. If you even touch somebody, there's going to be a thief. It's pointless.
They just let him steal, basically, right?
They let them.
Right.
Yeah, you have
they
to let
it
them.
all.
Yeah. You can't get involved.
Then you just file a police report after, and then.
Well, they're probably creating a big giant bubble into the CVS Walgreens stock before it crashes, and they start closing thousands of them. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Something going on somewhere, and we
don't know.
We don't know nothing.
Crazy, right?
But yes, guys, just be safe. Be careful. I heard so many stories, sharing syringes, bacteria in the product.
How do you share a syringe, man? That's just.
It's just a lot of stupidness. I mean, also depends what part of the world you're in. Also, your third world country.
I'm talking about America. How do you,
Again, it's just
Bodybuilding is global.
Stupidity, and guys.
Worldwide.
I heard a story about this bodybuilder. I'm not gonna say who, but I heard a story. He would actually be wearing a shirt in a gym, and he would inject himself through the shirt. Have you heard that story?
I seen those.
You've seen those too?
Through the pants. And I'm
Through
like,
the pants.
I mean, because they think hardcore means doing stupid shit.
People do some stupid stuff, man.
It's not hardcore. It's just stupid.
I've heard guys injecting their penises in the bodybuilding industry.
With steroids?
I've heard of that.
What, with steroids?
No,
thinking it is a muscle, so it should grow like a muscle.
Oh my!
You've seen that happen, Vic?
I never seen it. Never seen it.
But you know of it.
But yes, I know a couple of guys actually did it.
Wait, so they want to grow their penises to inject steroids into it?
Well, their whole, kind of, freaking method was, or
That's nuts, bro.
I don't know.
What's the case study behind that? Somebody actually looks it up, and then all of a sudden it works for them, so they tried it too. They tried it as
Listen,
well.
the theory, which is not even theory, because theory is actually, a smart calculation of something that could happen. Their guess was just, it's a muscle. If I put it in, just like I do it to my glutes, I was like, well, if your glutes will be one of those BBLs then, if it worked that way too.
Wow.
Right.
You know, it doesn't work on site, and so they just walking around probably with Olympics now.
You know, and I heard it's like very common actually, more than people think.
Does HGH make your penis grow? Is that something that happens?
I mean, unless it's
Because it makes everything grow, right?
I mean, that's not a question I don't
be
know.
like
I
an
can't answer
orchid,
that
no?
question,
Growing
but I would love to
I
ask.
don't know.
See if Vic knows.
Listen, I don't think that.
All right, let's wrap this up. So, guys, the best question for Victor.
Yes,
That was
best
don't
questions,
ask that
guys.
question that I just asked.
Yes, guys, and then it will be always no. So just
Get a queso of Redcon 1
Yeah, we're gonna be doing that more often too. Every week we're gonna be giving away
every
something
week.
special.
Best question picked by Vic.
giveaway, best questions, case of
Redcon Energy.
Redcon Energy. Is it just one flavor or different flavors?
Different flavors. We can pick the flavor. There's like 7 different flavors.
All right,
I like
guys.
this one.
So come on, bring them on. Good questions on training. I don't think we've been getting enough. And does it have to be a steroid question? Don't bore us again,
Yeah.
guys. Come
And
on.
take advantage of Vic because he
Something
charges a lot of
serious.
money for coaching.
A lot of money.
Something
Yeah.
serious. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us in this week's podcast. And please, you want to see any of our past podcasts, please do tune in iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere where you stream your podcasts.
And subscribe at Generation 9.
Yeah, subscribe, like, and comment.